I'm getting fed up of cloud AI. Imagine paying hundreds of dollars every month for an AI. And one morning that you wake up, you learn that a new version of that AI replaces an invisible mark inside what it generates. And that mark may survive even after editing. That is what Anthropic announced for new cloud models launched from the 2nd of August 2026. Now, to be fair, Anthropic said they are complying with the European Union AI rules, that the mark is meant to improve transparency and not just some sinister ways to claim ownership of what they've generated. This sounds fine until you realize that the watermark is not the whole problem. It's just a receipt for the arrangement we've already accepted. We call it artificial intelligence, but the way most of us use it today is something I would describe as rented intelligence. You can pay $20, $100, or even $200 every month, and the service can still impose session windows, weekly limits, or whatever caps they can come up with. And this is often at their own discretion. A model can be nerfed, throttled, replaced, routed differently, or even retired like OpenAI did with GPT-4o and several other models. They'll tell you they move existing conversations to new equivalent, and while the replacement may perform better on a benchmark, it may still be worse for the exact thing you loved the old model for. We saw this with Oppo 4.6 and Oppo 4.5, so it's becoming painfully clear that you did not buy it too. Instead, what you bought is access to someone else's irrational decision. Permission is not possession. We see this when accounts get suspended. Sometimes for legitimate reasons and abuse, right? And sometimes after a wrong automated review. Now, AI companies need safety rules. They have laws to obey, infrastructures to protect, and abuse to stop. But we are allowed to make an architectural choice too. If a capability matters to my work, my family, my memory, or my safety, should losing permission from one company make that capability disappear? And then there is privacy. We no longer use AI to ask for trivials. We pour our unfinished life into it. Unreleased codes, contracts, bank statement, medical questions, relationship problems, voice note, photographs of our home, and even the thoughts we are not ready to say out loud. But there it is. Once my private context is on someone else's computer, someone else's lawyer may be forced to decide what happens to it. Cloud companies can offer strong security. They can give us deletion controls, but they cannot give me a boundary they do not control, particularly when the government orders them to. Some things cannot be made private after they've already left the room. Now, I'm not declaring war on cloud AI. I use it every day. Frontier models are genuinely astonishing, right? And for jobs that need maximum capability, the cloud will often be the right place. Local first does not mean local only. The mistake is not using the cloud. Instead, the mistake is treating the cloud as a natural home for every thought, every file, and every essential capability. So the better question is not cloud or local. The better question is, where does the trust boundary belong? I use a simple test. I call it the home test. It has two axes. First, what is the cost of dependence? If a provider can see this work, meter it, change it, or switch it off, what breaks? Second, how compressible is this job? How much of it repeats? How much is the target? And how easily can you tell when the answer is right? Those two answers reveal where the intelligence belongs. If the work is open-ended and dependence costs little, rent the frontier. If it is open-ended but too important to lose, split the system. Keep the data, memory, and fall back at home. Borrow frontier reasoning only when you need it. If the job is predictable but low stakes, local AI is an optimization. But when the job is both predictable and dangerous to rent, that is the home contract. Because the more predictable the job, the less intelligence you need to rent in, and the more damaging dependence becomes, the stronger that intelligence claim on home. Sadly, most people think that local AI is shit. In fact, that was my first thought also. I mean, it was true in the past, but not anymore. Because the truth I'm realizing is this: local AI is not standing still, waiting for us to lower our expectations. It is catching up and fast. Only a few years ago, the useful local models demanded too much memory, and the small ones often felt like toys. But look at what has happened since then. Back in 2022, the smallest model that could cross 60% on a common knowledge benchmark had 540 billion parameters. But 2 years later, a model with just 3.8 billion parameters crossed that same line, 540 billion down to 3.8 billion, reaching the same threshold in 2 years. And by 2026, some open weight models below 32 billion parameters were matching GPT-5 performance tiers on composite reasoning tests. Now, does that mean a small local model can suddenly do everything ChatGPT or Claude can do? No, at least not yet. These smaller models can still be worse at factual recall and hallucination resistant, and its benchmark tie does not make two models interchangeable. But that is not the point. The point is that yesterday's impossible local workload keeps becoming today's normal one, and this is not happening on one curve, it's happening on three. First, the models are getting smaller and smarter. Second, the machines are getting better at running them. Stanford reports that AI hardware costs have been falling by around 30% a year, while energy efficiency has improved by about 40% annually. And third, and this is the part people often miss, the software keeps learning how to get more from the hardware we already own. Quantization stores a model using fewer bits. Better inference engine pushes more work through the GPU and the neural processors already inside our machine. Smarter caching stops a model from carrying useless context from one task into the next. Mixture of expert models can contain enormous capacity while activating only a fraction at a time. And in QVAC, TurboQuant can compress the model's working context memory, the KV cache, by up to 5 times on supported hardware. Same model, same computer, but more usable context. Not because you bought a new machine, but because the software learned to waste less of the one you already have. People often picture today's smallest model frozen inside today's laptop, but that is not the future we're moving into. The model will improve, the machine will improve, and the software around both will improve also. And those improvements will compound. Of course, the cloud frontier will keep moving, but local AI does not need the cloud to stop. It does not need to beat the best model on every possible task. It only needs more of our private, repeated, everyday jobs to cross the line good enough to stay home. And that line is moving fast. I know because I've watched it move while building Leash. Leash is a private, on-flight capable AI designed to live across devices the user control. On an M4 Mac Mini, which is the one I have here, I'm going to show you in the video, we ran language, retrieval, vision, speech, agents, and delegated inference through QVAC on a local hardware. We tested the important part in airplane mode. When this stack failed, we patched it and contributed improvement upstream. Leash, of course, won the first place overall in QVAC First Unleashed Edge AI Hackathon. But what matters is what the failures taught me. Small local models are not miniature cloud gods. You give them an unbounded job and they will remind you very quickly. But put them inside a real product. Give them private context. Give them a narrow responsibility. Give them deterministic guardrails and a human who can review the result. And suddenly, they stop looking like toys. The breakthrough is not that a local model beats every frontier model. It's that for a growing class of private and bounded jobs, it no longer has to. And that's the whole point of this series. We'll start with a very small but useful case study. I'll call it Redact. Imagine you need to share a bank statement, medical referral, a payslip, or a copy of your ID. You want AI to find the sensitive feeds you may have missed. The obvious cloud workflow is right, you upload the original documents, the completely unredacted original, send it away to ask for help to make it private. The contradiction is almost perfect, right? With that stacked as a normal interface, you inspect a document, place and move marks, compare the original with a safe share view, and review an audit trail. No magic, no fake AI button, then we bring in QVAC. OCR runs where the document already lives. Local reasoning proposes names, account numbers, addresses, signatures, and other sensitive regions. Every candidate remains optional. The human approves the final set, and we will be honest about all the boundaries. Finding sensitive regions is not the same as securely writing PDF. It's not the same as sanitizing metadata, and it's not automatically legal grade anonymization. Those remain engineering problems, not promises hidden behind the word AI, right? So that is what local AI should look like. It is not a chatbot pasted onto a product, not a text box added because every app apparently needs one, but an intelligence woven into a useful workflow without moving the trust boundary outside the user's control. Redact is only the first case study. We'll start with ordinary applications people can recognize, then hard local intelligence with QVAC step by step. We'll compare the manual workflow with the AI-assisted one and test what survived without the internet, and we'll show the model, the hardware, the latencies, the mistakes, and the receipt. The goal is not to pretend that the cloud is going away. The goal is to stop confusing assets with ownership, because intelligence you rent can be switched off. Intelligence you own can become part of your tools, your home, your relationship, your memory, part of the life it is supposed to serve. The cloud shows us what AI can do. Now, we have to decide what should come home. I'm Daniel, and this is Bring AI Home.